Greetings and welcome to Zord Planetary Space Program, episode 35. And welcome back to Alpha Station. Remember this place? I barely did. And remember these guys? The three Kerbals we had stationed at Alpha Station? Well, I remember them just now, and I figured that they have been in space for a very long time and just sitting at the station. So it's time to go home. I mean, the other crew with Dean and Sean and everyone is going home. So these guys too should be going home. I mean, one version of why they're up here in the first place is to provide communications and services to the ships going up from Kerbin surface and for the crews out in the solar system. Now there's no more ships going up and one of the crews is coming home, so there's only one left, and I think we can handle that through the ground-based facilities. So we are going home using this homemade contraption. We're putting a service module or a command module on, as you can see, the service ship and some of its modules. This is, well, we're basically assembling a ship out of parts we had lying around. And this is, again, one of the strengths of the modular system. So we undock the parts going to the ground with the Kerbals, and the rest returns to the station. You don't need to see that, it just flies back and docks. Nothing interesting. It's a lot more interesting how I managed to fly this part. Yeah, and the downside of this command module is that it's not aerodynamically stable on the way down. So you have to use ASAS or SAS until you deploy the parachutes. But there's no problem, we don't have deadly re-entry, so it really doesn't matter, it just looks better. So we're fast forwarding this thing through the re-entry and everything, and we're done. The guys are home, and with that we switch to the Moho vehicle and its crew. We are doing a correction maneuver here to make sure we encounter Kerbin and have a low periapse. The plan here is to just enter and do a aero brake or aero capture and then aero brake and then aero assisted landing. And since we're playing the stock version, we don't have to worry about re-entry, heat or anything really. So we just set up a very low periapse inside the atmosphere, and since there's nothing else to do, we just time warp till we get to Kerbin. The only other thing we have to do is wait like a year for the Eeloo window. So we have a periapse, and I have an idea. We are very close to where we need to be, so we're just going to do a tiny correction. But we can avoid throwing nuclear engines on people. I'm sure they will appreciate that, so we'll do it. And this shouldn't be hard, we just make sure we have a proper periapse, and then we separate the command module and use it as RCS to get on the correct trajectory. So now the nuclear engines should pass over the atmosphere and out into solar orbit again, while this command module with the crew should enter the atmosphere. So here's Kerbin. It was a long time we saw Kerbin, discounting earlier this episode. I'm guessing the Kerbals are going to be very happy to be back on terra firma, especially after the re-entry, because it looks like we are going very fast. We'll see what kind of, yeah, we get the spectacular kind of re-entry flames, and again, this vehicle is not aerodynamically stable, so we have to keep it stable. Oh yeah, we maxed out the G meter, that's good. Okay, we're going down very fast, but no worries. Oh look, mountains. We are landing right by the mountains. Okay, good. Good as in nothing's really bad. We're landing a single part and... Oh, okay, well, the docking port went off, but we don't need it anymore. So, these guys are home. The Moho and the Duna and the Dress and... Not the Duna. Well, which places did these guys land on? They landed on Moho, they landed on Eve and Dress. So, that's it. And this is the empty stage, which is still controllable. The modular engines are, well, they are their own spacecrafts, and so we have probe cores on them. Yeah, so that's not gonna bother anyone, and we have legitimized some of our landings. It's good, especially the E1. That was not something I want to do again soon. And now we're waiting for this Eeloo window, and this is one of the problems with this game. Takes a lot of time. Look at the moons go! This is maximum time warp, and the footage is sped up 8 times. So look at the moons. Yeah, okay, it's time. It is time to transfer the crew, Bill, Jeb, and Bob, to the lander vehicle. They have been sitting in the Delta Station for not quite a year, but like 9 months or something, and doing science, gathering the data. They have been crunching the numbers, playing board games, I don't know. So they have transferred the guys to the lander. We're gonna use the same lander because, well, we only have one. And we're gonna use the tanker to give us the delta V we need. So we're going to dock them to each other. This isn't very revolutionary. And since this is post-commentary, I can add that in doing this I made a big mistake. I forgot something. We forgot to bring the parachutes. I was supposed to have brought the command module, which just the two other crews just used to get back to Kerbin, but these guys aren't bringing that, and we're leaving without it, as you see. So we cannot do the easy re-entry on Kerbin. We have to figure something else out. But these guys are competent, and we have plenty of opportunities. We can still aero brake, we can't just aero land. So now we have this problem that we're going to transfer to Eeloo from Laythe. And this takes a lot of time to do this maneuver planning. But eventually I got something which resembles a transfer. So we're gonna try and do this, and there's gonna be 3 free burns. One to break Laythe orbit, which takes a while. And when we're done that, we need to break Jool orbit, and yeah, that takes a lot more while. And then we're gonna do a correction burn. So the orbit we are on now is almost identical to Laythe's orbit, and apparently we are to re-enter Laythe's sphere of influence, because we end up in orbit around Laythe, which is not what I want, nor what the game actually tells me is gonna happen, because there's no Laythe encounter. So we're gonna have to fix this. Yeah, it's really simple. We just raise the orbit a little bit so that we don't encounter Laythe, despite the game not telling us we should do it in the first place. And this, of course, screws up the maneuver nodes I have done to transfer to Eeloo, so I have to redo everything. But anyway, we have done the corrections. We are well, yeah, okay. Now we are apparently encountering Laythe again, despite the projections not saying so, which means we have to correct this. We have to raise the orbit a little bit more. And can I please get a maneuver node? Oh, come on, thank you. So we raise the orbit just a little bit. This isn't a big deal, except now the exit maneuver from Jool isn't working. Well, I have to redo it again. Yeah. Okay. Third time's a charm, right? So now we just have to warp to that node and execute it. Piece of cake. Whoa. Yeah. The game screwed me over again. So there's apparently still an encounter there, despite nothing saying that there should be an encounter there. So a lot of messing around later, I have done another correction and have redone the transfer node again. And this also required me to, salvage some save files through the persistent save, unloading them as quick saves, because I didn't foresee that happening. God. And this is also inside the frames of what I can do, because the game glitched out and screwed me over. But we appear to be on our way. We have started the burn. Despite forgetting the parachutes for the way home, we are well on our way. And yeah, this takes a lot of Delta V, of course. And a lot more than I thought it would, because apparently KSP isn't the only thing being slightly glitchy. I got really weird values from the launch window planner I usually use. So I had to do everything by hand, but no worries, because this thing has something like twice the amount of Delta V we should need. Okay, so we have done the burn, just a tiny correction here, and we have a good Eeloo encounter. Well, good and good, we have an Eeloo encounter. That's something. So now we need to exit the Jool system. And I hope we can get out through this minefield of moons, and none of them sneaking up behind us and throwing us off course. It looks good, looks good. Whew. Well, that took a lot longer than it should have. But at least we appear to be out of the woods now. Now we're gonna cross into solar orbit, taking it nice and easy across the threshold. Okay. Yeah, this is a bit of glitching is to be expected. It always is, but no, that's... Oh, look at the orbit projections! Okay. Can I please get the orbit I have? Can I get my own orbit, not some random weird orbit? Please? Any day now. Is it it? Is this it? No. That's not even possible. Jool's sphere of influence isn't that big. Come on. Oh, come on. Game. I know you can do it. Please? Thank you. Good. Okay, we are actually out of Jool's sphere of influence. And we're gonna do a tiny correction just to get us close to Eeloo, like so. And with that, we just have to wait a really long time. I thank you for watching and hope to see you again next time. Goodbye!